こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、サッカー日本代表に関する動画です。今回は、代表チームに詳しいGive Goのチャンネルにて、ワールドカップのFグループの展望を話している動画から、日本について話している箇所を切り取っています。日本はアジア史上最高のチームであるものの、グループ F は簡単ではなく、スウェーデンやチュニジアには、簡単には勝てないだろうと話しています。やはり戦力としては申し分ないものの、ベスト8の壁が日本には大きく立ちはだかっているため、それを超えられるかどうかがやはりポイントだと話しています。実際にどのように話しているのかチェックしてみましょう。
Starting off with AFC's finest, Japan arriving to this group. Japan, one of the most tactically evolved Asian national teams ever. They represent the progress that's being made in that region as they went on an incredible run in 2022, playing some fast, energetic, technical football. And not just that, but having players actually go and play in Europe now, making that jump, starting to show up on big teams like guys like Takefusa Kubo playing for Real Sociedad. Mitoma and his time spent at Brighton has been incredible as well. And you can just look at any sector of the pitch. They have European level talent, European level athleticism. And in 2022, they were able to match it with really good defense, with fast transitions, with this aggressive play that saw them go on that improbable round of 16 run that we got from the Japanese team that made them very likable, very easy to root for. Well, they finished in first place in their World Cup qualifying group to get here, granted with questions, as they ended up tying 2 matches and losing 1 game. May not sound that crazy, but when you think about AFC's talent pool, you shouldn't be, dropping points that much, especially if you're trying to be a superpower nation in football out of Asia. So I think Japan represents 2 things. Either a dark horse pick for a lot of people as a team that can make that jump and improve upon what they did in 22, and for others, a team that might be a little overrated going into this tournament and might actually take a step back from what we saw in the last World Cup.
Japan have been so fun to watch, honestly, for the last 16 years since I first saw them in 2010 in South Africa, where Keisuke Honda really lit up that tournament and honestly became one of my favorite players for a couple of years. But since then, Japan, as you said, have had some really high highs, man. I mean, consistently making round of 16 essentially when it comes to the World Cup appearances. Much like Mexico, they cannot go to the quarterfinals. They just haven't been able to crack that. And that's my thing with Japan is they've made so much progress over these last 16 years. Because I do think you're spot on when you say that they're one of the most tactically evolved teams in Asia, because they do play some of the best football and they've worked hard to get there. But my problem is I just continually see Japan hit the same ceiling every single time. Even in their own confederation, AFC, you consider Japan to be a powerhouse. The AFC Asian Cup is held every 4 years. Japan has only won it once in the last 16 years, and that was back in 2011.
They get nervous at home.
And that's a problem. And unfortunately, that's a problem, is Japan have a clear ceiling that they cannot overcome. You look at their World Cup qualification, and I agree, played Australia twice, could not beat Australia, an Australian team that most people consider to be decent, not bad by any means, but not crazy as well. I think that's also a problem for Japan. The good news is despite all of these problems for Japan, their ceiling is high, right? If they're hitting that ceiling, it's good, because they do have some good players. What I like about this Japanese team specifically, it is very much the same players that were here 4 years ago. You have Aotanaka, you have Ritsu Doan, you have Kaoru Mitoma, you have Junya Ito, you have Ueda, who plies his trade in the Netherlands. I think right now what I like more about this team than I liked 4 years ago is I think their 2 holding midfielders are much better. Daichi Kamada right now is, I think, going through the best moment of his career at Crystal Palace. He can kind of do a bit of everything. He's more offensive than he appears. I think he's going to be crucial for Japan this summer. And right now, alongside him, it looks to be Sano's doing very well defensive midfield position at Mainz. So I like what Japan have. Also, Minamino and Kubo, though maybe they're not as good, it just adds to this overall player selection that Moriyasu can pick from. So this Japan team is good. I just get frustrated when they hit the same ceiling every single time. But hey, maybe this year is different.
For sure.
And I think at this point, it's just going to come down to hope. They have the players to do it. I'm not questioning that. I just wonder if they can.
I don't know if Japan could have gotten drawn into a worse group.
Yeah, it's chaos.
You look at the teams, and I mentioned at the beginning, the team profiles, I think, don't align well with Japan. Physical, every single one of these teams. And I'll get deep into it, but Sweden, I think, showed that they play hard. They play tough football. Tunisia is supposed to be the easiest team in this group, but they're going to pound you. They're going to be so physical. They're so demanding when you play them. You cannot let off the gas when you go up against Tunisia. We've learned that from seeing them in past World Cup iterations. And with the team they're bringing into this tournament, it might be their best version, honestly. Japan cannot take a break. They have to play at 10 out of 10 level every single one of these games. That worries me, man. That worries me because I didn't see them reach that peak in AFC qualification. And more so from what I've seen out of their friendlies. For example, they played against the USA. They played against my very own Mexico. They do struggle to finish, man. They create a lot of opportunities, but their efficiency isn't as good as it should be. And you can look at the players up top as the reason for why that might be. None of them are truly in the same form that they were in going into 2022. They're great players, still holding their own in big leagues, but are they cooking up the way that they were back then? I would argue that basically none of these players truly are. And I think they kind of need that to be able to take down or challenge a Netherlands, challenge a Swedish team. That European talent, you got to be as efficient as possible to take those teams down. So for me, the bad news is that you're drawn into a very difficult group that doesn't help your situation. The good news is third place goes through.
Absolutely.
Third place goes through. And if Japan can at the very least get third place in this group, I think they're better fit, better suited for a knockout style of football. That's where Japan can surprise you. That's where they can play their best football. That's where they can still counter you and catch you off guard. Knockout football, I think, really plays along with Japan's style. And I think that's what they're trying to get to that round of 32. And then that hope comes in. And then that belief of maybe going into the round of 16 comes back. But in the group stage, I think it might get a little ugly for Japan. And they're going to have to beat a team like Tunisia or maybe a team like Sweden to be able to go through to the next round.
Yeah, you look at Japan, Tunisia, Sweden. I think the key will be how does each of those teams play against Netherlands. If you can draw Netherlands, I think that's a big win. And then from there, it's just get your 3 points against either Sweden or Tunisia if you're Japan. See what you can conjure. But yeah, realistically, you just need a win and a draw. Go through as third place, probably minimum.
Yep.
次は解説です。今回は過去に解説したものばかりですが、知っておくと便利だと思うものを解説しています。それでは本日の解説をチェックしてみましょう。
That saw them go on that improbable round of 16 run.
インプロバブルは、起こりそうにない、予想外のという意味です。スポーツでは、予想外の快進撃や、信じがたい逆転劇を表現するときによく使われます。インパサボが不可能なのに対して、インプロバブルは、可能性は低いけど起こりうるという違いがあります。そのため、スポーツの奇跡的な展開を語るときに非常に相性が良い単語です。実況や海外サッカーメディアでも比較的よく登場します。予想外、まさかのという日本語とかなり近い感覚で使えます。インプロバブルにはスポーツ英語で非常によく使われる定番表現です。
That saw them go on that improbable round of 16 run. That saw them go on that improbable round of 16 run.
Though you have Wade who plies his trade in the Netherlands.
フライゴススレイディは仕事をする、職業に従事するという意味です。サッカーではどこどこでプレーするという意味でよく使われます。プレイフォーよりも少し硬く、スポーツメディアっぽい響きがあります。特にイギリス系の記事や解説でよく見かけます。海外サッカー英語では覚えておくと便利な表現です。
Though you have Wade who plies his trade in the Netherlands. Though you have Wade who plies his trade in the Netherlands.
But they're going to pound you.
パウンドは強く叩くという意味の動詞です。スポーツでは、相手に激しくぶつかる、強い圧力をかけるという意味で使われます。単に攻撃するだけでなく、身体的にも精神的にも消耗させるニュアンスがあります。ラグビーやサッカー、格闘技などでよく使われ、日本語では激しくぶつかってくる、ガンガン押してくるが自然です。かなり力強い表現です。
But they're going to pound you. But they're going to pound you. You cannot let off the gas when you go up against Tunisia.
レトフダガスは、直訳すると、アクセルを緩める、です。比喩的には、勢いを落とす、気を抜く、手を緩めるという意味になります。サッカーでは、リードした後に守りに入りすぎたり、集中力が落ちたりする場面でよく使われます。You cannot let off the gas は、気を抜いてはいけないという意味です。特にフィジカルで粘り強い相手に対して使われやすい表現です。日本語では、最後まで強度を落とせないが自然です。試合展開を説明するときにかなり便利なフレーズです。
You cannot let off the gas when you go up against Tunisia. You cannot let off the gas when you go up against Tunisia. Oh, that's where they can still counter you and catch you off guard.
Catch someone off guard は、不意をつく、油断しているところをつくという意味です。サッカーでは、カウンターや急なプレー変更で相手が対応できない場面によく使われます。オフガードは、警戒していない状態という意味です。そのため、相手の準備ができていない瞬間をつくというニュアンスになります。実況や解説ではかなり品質の表現です。日本語では意表をつく、不意をつくが自然です。スポーツ以外の日常会話でも使える便利なイディオムです。
Oh, that's where they can still counter you and catch you off guard. Oh, that's where they can still counter you and catch you off guard.
See what you can conjure.
conjure は、もともと魔法で呼び出すという意味を持つ単語です。そこから比喩的に、何かを生み出す、ひねり出すという意味で使われます。サッカーでは、難しい状況からチャンスやゴールを作る場面でよく使われます。特にconjure something out of nothing は、何もないところから何かを生み出すという定番表現です。久保や三笘のような創造性のある選手を表現するときにぴったりです。普通のクリエイトよりも、魔法のような特別感があります。実況や海外サッカー記事で見るとかなりかっこいい表現です。日本語ではひねり出す、魔法のように生み出すが自然です。
See what you can conjure. See what you can conjure.
いかがでしたか？日本に対しては期待も大きいものの、ベスト8に行けるかどうかは、またその壁に跳ね返されるのではないか、という不安の方が大きそうに感じているようでした。戦力やポテンシャルが高いだけに、そこがフラストレーションになると話し、日本のファンと同様に、日本の新しい景色を見ることを期待しているようにも伺えました。直近のブラジル戦やイングランド戦には全く触れず、2022年の時ほど、調子のいい選手がいないように見えるとも話し、選手層が厚くなっているのは間違いないものの、主力選手の調子が、前回ほどにはないのではないかと感じているようでした。実際には三笘薫は怪我で離脱してしまい、遠藤や南野、久保、トゥニアスといったビッグネームに、怪我が相次いだことも、そういう印象になったのかもしれません。それでも鎌田大地と佐野海舟のボランチコンビは前回大会以上だと話し、上田綺世は間違いなくパワーアップし、伊東純也と中村敬斗は健在、前田大然は、ここに来て絶好調、堂安はクラブでは冷遇されながらも、コンディション的にはワールドカップにかなり良い状態で合わせてくるんじゃないか、という期待さえしますが、明らかに万全な状態の日本ではないものの、それでも期待が大きく感じるのは、やはり日本の実力がアップしていると感じられるからでしょう。この動画の最後のパートでは、グループの予想もしており、実際にはグループ2位通過をオランダ以外の3カ国で争うと話していましたが、それくらいの期待の方が良いと感じるくらいでしょうから、また番狂わせや驚くような結果を見せてくれることを期待したいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。